I guess somehow the ball got dropped, but he'll be here next week.
Yep, Sunday.
Sunday.
The store's only going to be open for 3 hours.
The store is only going to be open for 3 hours from 3 to 6. So Sunday, we will have a signing for an artist who works on Batman and Catwoman. And is this my drink?
Yeah. That should
Okay, cool. Just making sure. Lot of news. What news we got?
We got September 3rd, the new release date for Shang-Chi.
Oh, yeah, Shang-Chi. The Shang-Chi trailer dropped, and if you didn't see it, it's outstanding. Ridiculously cool. Do not skip that trailer, and I would say don't skip that movie, because the end of the trailer has, like, the actual Munibus experience for San Francisco, and it's dead on. Like, if you ride Muni ever, that's exactly what it's like every damn time. And those Munibus drivers, they don't give a crap, dude. like everybody's freaking out in the trailer, and I was like, no, that's normal. So yeah. That was great. What else? New Moon Knight comic still coming. What else, Cam? I know you got pop culture news for us.
Emilia Clarke is joining Secret Invasion.
Emilia Clarke is going to be on the Secret Invasion TV show, which is going to be, that was probably my favorite Marvel event. I can't figure out who she's going to play, though. I haven't been able to put that piece together. Maybe she's going to play Skrill.
I mean, that would be
Yeah, maybe. I have no idea. Shang-Chi promo is awesome. They've nailed it, dude. They've nailed it. Because if you like Shang-Chi, you know that he's pretty much a tribute to Bruce Lee. Not pretty much. He's a tribute to Bruce Lee. So they hit the nail on the head perfectly, and I am so excited for that. What else? I switched over to Mint Mobile, which, look, okay. Maybe you think it's not comic news talking about Mint Mobile, but one, I'm getting a really good deal on my phone service. Two, I'm getting voicemails from Ryan Reynolds because he's an owner of Mint Mobile. Not like he's just their spokesman. He's an owner of Mint Mobile. And what's really cool about the whole thing is if you go to the Mint Mobile website, they have like these lines where it's like talking about like the differences between 5G, and it's like 5G comes in 3 flavors. Like there's the one flavor that's like 20% fast. That's pretty much what we'll be using. There's the other one that's like it's sort of shoddy but sort of okay, but you definitely need like tower service, and that's like 60% fast. And then there's the really fast one that can be blocked by rain and by leaves. And this is where AT&T and Verizon are starting LMFAO. So I was like, this is like Deadpool running a phone company. Like, this is the best thing ever. That's exactly what I want out of my phone service. In fact, that's exactly what I want out of like everything. Ryan Reynolds needs to set up his own Linux distro so I get the Deadpool experience there too. Anyways, what else do we got going on this week? I know we have Batman Fortnite, and we need to talk about this because, oh my God, we have so many people calling just constantly. I guarantee you this phone's probably going to ring 3 or 4 times during this whole segment. And it's people asking about the Fortnite comic. It's a lot of kids. But we found out that the reason they're asking for it is because there's a code in it that unlocks some Fortnite skin. Not because they're really into comics. So, it's whatever. I can't, I'm not going to, I like DLC and skins too of games. So, but we don't have enough copies. We have enough A covers to cover our subs, full stop. We have maybe 5 copies of the B covers, and they all come sealed. So I can't even review it if I wanted to because it's a sealed book, and we're not going to crack that open to ruin someone else's purchase. But if you want Batman Fortnite, which is eventually Batman versus Snake Eyes, which is always going to be Batman, I'm sorry. But that will be on our shelves tomorrow morning, and I guarantee if you're not here like right at opening, you're probably not getting it. We're already telling people we're sold out because it's gonna go in seconds. If you want it, get here. We'll have 5 copies. You're not buying all 5. If you're one of these people who tries to buy all, oh my God, I think it's on the website. Yeah, we need to take that off. If you're one of these people who tries to buy every copy, which does happen, and then goes home and realizes we have variants and tries to buy the rest. Please don't do that. Don't ever do that to us ever. We need to have copies on the shelf for our regulars, and I know the website doesn't limit you to 2.
It's for the kids, man.
But don't buy more than 2. And if you're an eBay flipper on a comic that a lot of kids are calling about, don't be that guy. Don't be that guy, dude. You're making $100, maybe $50, $100 on a book that some kid could really, really enjoy. Maybe that's the breakout comic that some kid's gonna discover that he really loves comics too. If you're not into Fortnite, don't come pick that up. Don't. Sorry, I got real issues with eBay flippers because they come between fans getting what fandom they want, and often they're just doing it for a couple bucks. And I've always felt like if you applied that same mentality to real estate or stocks and got that ruthless with that, you'd be a millionaire. Instead, you're like nickel and diming to take from the fandom, which that hurts people, man. So eBay flippers, not my jam. And in this case, I'm going to take a pretty active stance on that. Don't buy every copy of that, please. Okay, enough lecture. Any other pop culture news?
Finale for Falcon Winter Soldier on Friday.
Oh yeah, the finale for Falcon and Winter Soldier. We keep discussing if they're gonna handle his racist undertones, which it's sort of hinted that they're there, but not as overtly as in the comics. Which, if you don't know, John Walker is very controversial because he says stuff that is. It seems pretty racist. Calling people Pocahontas and saying
you're not supposed to like him. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not supposed to like him as a character. So don't give the actor crap though, please. The world is so weird, dude.
Wyatt Russell?
Speaking of which, let's discuss something else that has kind of rubbed me and Cam the wrong way. We're going to talk about Justice League number 60. Now, I love that Naomi's in this. I love Naomi McDuffie in anything. I had a good time with this issue. It was hysterical. It's great writing. I love the writing. I'm super excited to see Justice League deal with the villains of her world, which have already destroyed a whole world. So now they're moving on to the DC universe. We're going to see how that plays out. One of the things that I'm kind of annoyed with, and Cam, you're annoyed with this too, Black Adam is being welcomed to the Justice League, which is great. And, we have a Black Adam movie coming soon, which stars The Rock, which is also great because The Rock does look like Black Adam. However, the Black Adam in this looks like Superman. It does not look like Black Adam that we know. He has the typical, nose like mine that's a little slanted and a little bit bigger. And he doesn't look like I've never known Black Adam to look like a pretty boy. Ever. And granted, I know he's going from villain to superhero, and it's logical progression if you read the last Shazam run that he would do that. However, why do you have to give him that makeover? I'd say leave him as is, and let the fans fall in love with the character. The way he is now. Why not? And Black Adam's a badass. I want a Black Adam. He's been my favorite sort of anti-hero for a while, even though he's a villain. Because there's a scene where he was over at Kahndaq at one point, and there was a suicide bomber that came up, and he legitimately ripped off his arm. I think threw it and the bomb into space, and then lectured people on fanaticism, and instantly was, as a soldier who's been to war, I fell in love with the character after that. I love Black Adam. He's amazing. I don't why are you gonna do this to the character? Put the regular Black Adam in there. But, okay. It is what it is. Is the comic good? Yeah, it's great. The art's good. I'm having a good time with it. The art's actually really fun. And on top of that, the Justice League Dark story in the back has been fun too. We're finally seeing Etrigan get back to being Etrigan instead of I guess he was still Etrigan, but he was tied to a Detective Chimp, which was weird, but it worked. Anyways, it's good. Don't skip it if you're a DC fan. No, it's not my pick of the week. Next is V. Blanco Belair, Catwoman. Now, Catwoman's dealing with a new drug on the street, and it has ties to Poison Ivy. We're not sure how. And meanwhile, Edward Nygma's in play. If you couldn't tell from all the question marks on the cover, yeah, okay, she's dealing with that. And I got it, one of the things that stands out to me that I sort of read to you guys, the Penguin. I have always loved the Penguin for being just one of those guys that has this sense of class where he's like, he sort of feigns like he's scared and then is just like, I could just rule and destroy this room in seconds. No problem. Like I just love the way he is. What was it I said? He's the kind of guy that would be like, I teach people in low places that they should know which way the gun's pointed. I love his style, and that's what you get in this issue. You get just kind of an amazing scene with the Penguin that I love. The art is really good. It's a little gritty at times, but I like it, and I'm having fun with the story. Basically, Catwoman's got a target painted on her back. When doesn't she? We'll see how it plays out. The guy who's involved is named Valley, though. So, isn't that what's Asbat's name? Asbat's name is Valley. He's John Valley. I think he's related to him, but I can't remember how. Anyways, that's that. My brain's a mess, so I mix stuff up every once in a while. Next is Adams, LaFuente, Peterson, Guerrera, and Atia, and we're talking about Flash. Now, I have never in my life been the biggest Flash fan. I don't hate Flash. I've never subbed to Flash, and it's never just been my hero per se. That said, and keep in mind, I still don't like the new character Gold Beetle. It's just a weird mashup of Blue Beetle and Booster Gold. But I had a good time with this issue, which mostly centers around Wally and Gold Beetle. So I would say don't skip it. If you're a Wally West fan, I am a Wally West fan. I've just never really subbed to Flash. I had a really, really good time with this. So I'd say don't skip this as a DC fan. Now my DC pick of the week is so good. So good. We're talking about Taylor Redondo Lucas. That is Nightwing. Now, this variant is amazing. And the A cover, too, is amazing. We don't have any more A covers left. We'll have a couple variants on the shelf. Don't skip it. We found out in the last issue that Alfred was actually a billionaire just working as a butler because he loved his son so much. That's kind of touching. And he's left all his billions to Dick Grayson. And, he's suddenly rich and doesn't know what to do with that life, and he's going to do some good. But what we do get in this issue that kind of shocked me was we get a lot more lore behind Bloodhaven, which I didn't know that Bloodhaven was an OG, whaling town. And they've even got this big sculpture in, the middle plaza that shows, a guy fighting, a giant octopus. And a giant squid.
I didn't get that vibe.
Yeah, and the whole reason is because Bloodhaven was notorious for fighting monsters. And he's saying that the city's forgotten its roots, that they just don't think they can take on monsters anymore, so they let the corruption fester. And I love that. It's such good writing. It really just, it's a great backdrop, and they're setting up Nightwing to be, let's be honest, Alfred's died, and now Nightwing's going to be as rich as Bruce. And frankly, it makes sense for Dick Grayson to have that mantle passed to him. So I'm excited to see where this series goes, and I'd say that don't skip it. That's my pick of the week for DC. Next is Superman Red and Blue. I loved this one, too. It was almost my pick of the week. What are you getting this? You get a President Superman story with their version of Crypto, which has always cracked me up. You know what version it is? It's the humanoid Crypto that is talking, and his balloon bubbles are in bones and stuff. It's great. You get that. You get a Cyborg Superman story, a couple other Superman stories. But more importantly, something that really sort of pulled at my heartstrings was somebody talking to Martha Kent, some other old lady's talking to Martha Kent and saying oh, don't get us wrong. It's sweet that you were able to get a child even though you and Johnny couldn't, and they're basically hinting that adopted kids aren't real kids. And as somebody who has been adopted by my stepdad and taken on his name, and I have to say that hits home. And that's what I've always loved about DC Comics is there's a lot of stories about orphans that sort of do, still find fathers that are just as good as. And the love you make in this world is just as strong with anyone as it would be with birth parents, and maybe that doesn't really mean anything. It's such an old worldly thing to think of too, just by blood.
Well, even in comics, it's always super easy for everyone to go, hey, you got the bad step family, everyone's beating you all the time. But Superman, he's got the story of an actual loving family.
A
that
loving
adopted
family
him.
that adopted, and so did Batman. I mean, Batman had Alfred,
Batman,
right?
absolutely.
So
Sometimes kids need that.
yeah, I good job writing. Good job writing. That pulled at my heartstrings, and that story alone is absolutely worth the price. You get a lot of good art in there, including, and I think that Dennis Cowan drew the President Superman story. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. And anything with Dennis Cowan in it gets my vote, including Milestone, which is coming back soon.
Excellent.
Yep.
I talked to a certain someone who said he will definitely draw blanks for us.
Oh, that'd be nice. Okay. Lore, height, mellow. We can't even talk about it on camera. Don't talk about it. Lore, height, mellow, Underwood, Trinidad, Rapmund, and Quintana. And we're talking about truth and justice. But more importantly, what do you get in this issue? Well, you get a John Constantine story that is pretty good. But the John Constantine story has Brother Midnight in it, which is awesome. So I had a really, really good time in this with this storyline, because anything, not did I say Brother Midnight? I mixed up Brother Voodoo and Papa Midnight. They both have voodoo roots, so it was a logical Papa Midnight. And I loved it. It's really, really good. Whenever you get Constantine and Papa Midnight together in a comic, there is it feels like they know they need to work together, but there's always a competition. Always. That's just how they are. It's really, really good. The writing was great. I'm really loving this Truth and Justice series. So, yeah, it's all side stories, but they're all fun side stories, so don't skip them. Next is Rucka, Fernandez, Wheeler, Kamagni, Miwa, and Wynn, and we're talking about the Old Guard, Tales Through Time. Now, is this a one-shot, or is there going to be more than one?
One.
Oh, there is going to be more than one of the Old Guard, Tales Through Time. So I thought it was a one-shot because the two stories are really self-contained. One centers around how the main character got her axe and where it originated from and how many times it got retooled. And the other one centers around probably the best couple in the Old Guard. And if you know the story, you know who I'm talking about. And it's kind of touching. So both these stories were amazing. I reached the end of it and I had to speed read it. It was really one of those books where I wanted to slow down with it. So I might go back and reread it, and I would say don't skip this. It's almost my indie pick of the week, just about there, one hair shy, and I'm going to tell you why. Something knocked me off my socks this week. This is by Ram V, and I'm assuming that's Ram the Fifth and Felipe Andrade, and we're talking about Lila Starr. This comic, let's first talk about the art. The art is ridiculously cool. It's just gritty and surreal enough that it feels perfect for the story. And the reason it needs to be a little surreal is we're dealing with, I believe, the Hindi gods. And it's the Hindi gods, like how they handle different things, and it put them in a sort of corporate environment. And they had to give Death their walking papers. Why would they give Death their walking papers? Because a child is being born that's going to cure death. It's a brilliant story, and it's nothing we've seen before. The question that's going to be posed here is kind of like, we've sort of seen that question before, but it's told in a new way. And I can't talk more about it without spoiling it, but I reached the end of this book and just had the absolute best time with it. It was fun. It was amazing. As far as like a single issue goes, I was hooked. The art was great. The use of colors was outstanding. And I wanted to know more. And I think you should pick it up. So indie pick of the week, maybe my full-blown pick of the week. I don't know how many times we had an indie be the pick of the week.
Oh, not very many.
Not very many. Pretty close to it. I think it's The Many Deaths of Lila Starr. It was just a really, really fun read. Good writing, good art all around. Next is Champions, and this is Killer App Part 1. Well, the Champions have fought government overregulation. They fought the, what's it called? They fought Cradle with the Kamala Khan Act. It was outlawing teenage vigilantism, and they've won. Now they're going to take on doorbells. No, they're going to take on Roxxon Corporation. Hey Yogi, before time out, guys. Give me 1 second. Real quick.
I'll pop on there. I'll stop it.
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because I'm willing to bet somebody's already bought it. Let me double check.
You guys have this ability as well. Mark Ampon.
Oh, he bought. Yeah, hell yeah,
good job, Mark.
Good job, Mark. Good thing to buy. That's what he bought.
We got a little word.
Hell yeah, Mark. Okay, so it was just Mark getting that last book I recommended. So Champions is now going to deal with the villain of corporate media. Yeah, they're dealing with Roxxon. Roxxon
was in the Miles Morales Spider-Man.
Yeah, they were in the last one and they went undercover, I think, to deal with it. But Roxxon's had a kind of a fun year. They were in Immortal Hulk, dealing with hey, you remember me? I'm the Saturday Morning. You remember? like I can't remember what that character's name was.
He was like white and all.
Yeah, he was all fluffy. Roxxon has had Zemu. Yeah, Roxxon has had such a funny year in comics. It's just the evil corporation that everyone loves to hate, and so the Champions are dealing with it. And I say good showing. Like honestly, it's a fun villain for that team to have right now. Next is a comic that I'm in love with. Carla Pacheco, Harry Perez, Frank D'Armata. This is Spider-Woman. Now, this book started out like it was like, oh, it's kind of funny, and then lulled a bit. And then it was like somebody set off a chaos bomb that involved her family, clones, and the wildest ride I've ever read in comics. At times, it felt like I was gripping the pages to keep from flipping off this earth. Not flipping off, spinning off this earth. It was a wild, wild ride. And we reached the end of the last arc, and I thought, like, oh, is that going to be it? Like, is the magic going to be gone? And no, they have probably the funniest exchange with villains I've seen in a while. Like, I laughed pretty hard. And the whole premise for these villains was weird, but it works for it. Anyways, so Spider-Woman is still a great read. The art's really, really good. I mean, ridiculously cool. The storyline's fun. Don't skip it. I feel like I'm saying that too much this week. Sorry, guys. Next is number 1, and they didn't put any of the writers on here, but I know for a fact. Oh, yeah, there's so many. But Peach Momoko is in this. We're getting a Woman of Marvel story for Women's History Month. There is just a ton of good stories in here. We get She-Hulk. We get a Mystique and Rogue story. Yeah. We get trying to think of who else is in here. Peggy Carter as Captain America, and Lady Deathstrike story. Yeah, that's the Peach Momoko story. So it was just kind of, I was like, wow, Women of Marvel, and you went Lady Deathstrike. Okay, it works. Oh, maybe that's what it was. I thought they were going to do like mostly heroes, but you know, it makes sense. Lady Deathstrike's definitely a Woman of Marvel. Why not? So the stories were great. They were fun. They were whimsical. I wasn't bored. And the art was outstanding. So while they are all short stories, yes, that's what you get from a lot of these compilation comics, it was just a really fun ride. So we will have it on our shelves if you like it. Trying to say something different. Next is James Harren, Dave Stewart, issue number 2 of Ultra Mega. Now, it's a good story. It's basically an excuse to have like what feels like giant Power Rangers fight kaiju. That's what it sort of feels like to me. However, like the story is so surreal and all over the place. It deals with aliens. It deals with apocalypse scenarios. It deals with kids. It deals with, well, one of the characters actually eats kaijus at one point, just to be spiteful. There is so much weirdness and surrealness in Ultra Mega that every time I finish this, I'd stick. I feel like I've read a whole like graphic novel, and it's so much to wrap my head around. Now, is it bad? No, I'm not bored. I'm having a good time with it. It's fun. Cam, you read the first one. What'd you think? What'd you think of the first one?
It was weird but good.
Weird but good.
I was waiting on number 2 to get like a definite so I don't lock it down.
Right, that's how I describe it. So back in the day, they used to get a lot of guest writers and guest artists on TMNT comics. Keep in mind they'd still use a lot of Eastman stuff, but like they would get guest writers, and you would get these really sort of surreal stories. And one of them was like TMNT characters found themselves in like an alternate universe where they'd gone so fast doing something that they wound up in this universe that had these MC Escher like freeways where everyone drove them and everyone sped. And then they encountered a biker gang that was like knocking people off these roads. And all these people that wound up in this reality like mutated into like just different versions of themselves while they were speeding down the road and stuff. So super surreal story, right? But then you've got the Ninja Turtles like jumping from car to car, like being the glue in the story. That's what this feels like. It's surreal, it's weird, but somehow the characters work and they dance across the page as well. So I'm having a good time with it. Ultra Mega, I'd say at this point, I think I said last time, wait an issue before you go pick it up and sub. I'm going to call it now. You should sub to Ultra Mega. It's a fun story. Next is another story that's really, really fun. Should I make it my... No, I shouldn't. Okay. Spurrier, Davila, Parsons, and Prianto. This is Curse of the Ebony Blade, Black Knight. Now, Black Knight is a character that I love to laugh at. He's very much comic relief, and I guarantee you that's how most Marvel writers and artists see him, as a character of comic relief. He's like, what if Thor took himself way more seriously than Thor already does? And at times Thor does that, right? But this guy loves to ham it up. This is a serious story, and they're expanding on his mythos. And while the character is still pretty funny at times, they're telling a really, really good story. Now, they're going to tap a certain character that I love that doesn't get tapped enough in Marvel, and that is a certain Elsa Bloodstone. Now, Elsa Bloodstone, if you don't know, Elsa Bloodstone has a worse mouth than 99% of Marvel, to include Deadpool. She will make Deadpool blush while wearing a mask, still, like through the mask. That's how foul Elsa Bloodstone's mouth can be. And it's great. I love whenever they use her. In fact, I think Jessica Jones is probably the only one that could keep up with Elsa Bloodstone in the cursing department. Anyways, is it good? Yes, it's great. Black Knight, honestly, was a really, really fun ride. The art is good. The story's going in different directions. They're expanding on his mythos. And I'm going to call it. I like the character now. I'm hooked. Again, another book that I think I said, wait one issue and see. I'm going to call it now. You should go sub to it. It's great. It's great. Next is Josh Lee Gordon, Fabiana Mascolo, and Lucio Di Marino. Oh, wow. Firefly, brand new verse. But you know what I noticed is not on the cover? Look at this, Yogi. What do you see that's not on the cover?
A certain pilot or Mel? Or
a certain writer and director that...
Oh, yeah. No Whedonverse on
There's no Whedonverse on this. I think they're finally distancing themselves from him because he's been deemed problematic. That's being nice about it. The whole Justice League cast dimed him out as being kind of wicked.
And after watching it, I could totally see it.
And all the Buffy cast did too. And those are like two of my favorite brands in like pop culture history. So, wow, okay. So Firefly, new verse. What do you get? Well, you get the original Serenity, but being piloted this time by what? No. Zoe. Yeah. My brain just died. Being piloted by Zoe. We are going to see Mal Reynolds eventually. There's a whole bunch more, and Zoe has kids now, and there's a lot has changed. I think it's been 10 or 15 years since the last comic ended. Maybe it's got to be at least 15 years since the last comic ended, and it's really, really fun. I'm having a good time with it. There is, I do have to say, there's a very Star Wars solution in this. You'll have to read it and find out. It's not to say I didn't like it. I like things when they're tributes, and that's what it felt like. It felt like a tribute to something. So don't skip it. The art's really good. The story's, it's expanding the universe, so I'm giving it a chance. I'm not fully committed to these characters yet because I don't know enough about them. I'm waiting to find out their flaws. So it's good, though. Next is Kyle Higgins and Marcelo Costo with Becca Carey. This is Radiant Black. I almost called it Radiant Back. His back is shiny. Radiant Black. That name really is an oxymoron, isn't it? It doesn't go good together. Radiant Black. One is bright, but okay, it works. He's a new superhero in town. He got a superpowers. He doesn't quite know all his superpowers, and it turns out he's also a writer dealing with writer's block. Now, I liked the character in the first issue, but I was like, we've kind of seen this before. The second issue, I was like, the action was really fun, and they've already established a good villain. I'm liking this. This third issue, they humanized the character and made it really, really fun. So, again, another book where I was like, it seems pretty good. Probably subscribe, but let's wait a little bit. Nah, fully on board. I love this new superhero. Subscribe to it. It's great. Next, Eastman, Campbell, and Pattinson, and we're talking about TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I love this cover. Jennica on this cover looks so beast. What do you get in this issue? Well, somebody came back in time and told the Turtles that they all fell apart, and it all sort of hinges on the fact that Jennica didn't start a band.
What?
Yeah, so she's putting together a mutant band, and she's going to take on Bebop and Rocksteady, their band. So that's wild and weird, and I want to know where it's going. It's fun. It's fun. It feels very TMNT. Like, not every story's got to have action, but when they do have action, the action is overwhelming. That's good. I'm having a good time with this. If you're a TMNT fan, you will love this. But if you're a TMNT fan, you want buying these books in our stores, and we can't figure out why not. We've got plenty, and they're fun. Come get them. Next is Carnage, Black, White, and Blood. I believe this is the variant. Yep, this is the variant. What do you get in this? Well, you get 3 Carnage stories. One of them takes place after the King in Black, and it centers around, wait for it, Carnage's symbiote has found a new host, and that new host is a shark. Yeah, which kind of makes sense and looks really cool.
Look better than Venom Shark.
Oh, there is Venom Sharks in this too. So I'm going to tell you flat out, I love that first story. The art was amazing. The second story was pretty good, a bit dark, but go figure, it's Carnage. All these stories are a little dark. The art is really good. The stories, they're separate stories. They're all sort of, they feel like one-shots. The art, though, is just something that knocked me off my feet. It feels like when I was a kid, there were these books that everybody checked them out at the library, and I guarantee you when I say them, Yogi's going to recognize what they are. But the stories were creepy, but the art was what really sort of knocked you off your feet as a kid. And that was Scary Stories. Yep. Okay, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. That's what this art feels like. Like somebody has really done their homework here, and it has that really over-the-top creepy vibe while being just a fun comic book on top of it. So Carnage, Black, White, and Blood, don't skip it. Amazing, amazing book. Granted, the stories, I don't think they're going to expand on them, and it's not the bigger picture. They're just basically saying these are just Carnage stories. We need to feature Carnage. Next is Bowen McCurdy, Caitlin Musto, and this is Spectre and Spectres. Now, these are paranormal investigators. One of them gets possessed by a demon, and they have to investigate a haunted house and heal or fix their friend who's possessed, and deal with different types of hauntings, which I'm happy to say they've sort of gotten right. You know, there's malevolent spirits and what's the kind of spirits that are just sort of there, but it's just energy that's just flowing through, like they're replaying their lives and stuff like that.
When they're on a loop.
I can't remember what they're called, but yeah, they've got that in there. So they have stuff that we've sort of seen Ghost Hunters, those kind of paranormal TV shows talk about. So it's kind of cool. The writer has done their homework in that aspect. And they're also dealing with stuff like a cult that has gone through history fighting people who were possessed. And yeah, it's a lot of fun here. I'm having a really good time with this, but I like these boombox titles. Like I'm never bored with these, and they always feel, I don't know, they just unlock some like child, like some, I don't know, younger part of me, I guess is what I'm saying. Slight nostalgia feel, but I'm not sure what. Like maybe Nickelodeon type stuff.
I'm with that because that was very nice, man.
Yeah, yeah. Next is Wong Young, Olazaba, and Rosenberg. We're talking about Star Wars Dr. Aphra. Now, Dr. Aphra has been a victim of just how do you follow that? And what I'm saying is the last Dr. Aphra run that we had on our shelves before this one was just, it was outstanding. It was some of the best Star Wars comics I think I've ever read. And this one that was following it was not as good, but I'm happy to say they're back on the path. We got Dr. Aphra doing heists, Dr. Aphra talking archaeological, rare archaeological finds, and sometimes getting artifacts that might give her the upper edge. So they're doing everything that they did with the last comic, which seems right, except 000 is not there. The evil versions of C-3PO and R2-D2, the Sith droids, are not there yet. So I want them back. Bring them back somehow. Bring them back, and this will be the perfect Dr. Aphra run. It's still good. Don't skip it. I'm having a really good time. They're returning to form. So if you didn't like the last, I think 1 through 6, like you didn't like that arc, this new arc is really fun. I'm promising you a good time with this book. Next is, I'm going to call it, this is definitely my Marvel pick of the week. Oh, it's so neck and neck, dude. It's so neck and neck. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pick 2 Marvel picks of the week. I'm sorry, I can't decide between these 2. I'll put them back to back, so I'll let you guys see which ones are amazing. The first one is Jason Aaron, Grombeck, Deulius, Durso, and Menyes, and we're talking about Mighty Valkyries. Now, we're getting Jane Foster sort of put the band back together because all the Valkyries have been dead, and it was just Jane Foster. Now we've got a boatload of Valkyries, but more importantly, the Valkyrie that we saw in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is back in this. I believe that's her, the nameless Valkyrie who's in space. She's finally got a name in this issue. You're going to have to read it and find out. But we also get, and I got to tell you, the art in this is so mind-blowing. I mean, it's honestly like fireworks in my eyes. I was blown away by the art alone. But the writing is really good too. Go figure, it's Jason Aaron. There is a Loki scene in this that is so perfect. When I was reading it, I was like, oh, I know who that is. I know where this is going. I can immediately tell. It was outstanding writing. But go figure, it's Jason Aaron. Has Jason Aaron ever written anything you didn't like? I can't think of anything that comes to mind. It's like saying Donny Cates has written anything, or Al Ewing, and none of them have ever written anything I didn't like. Yes, Scary Stories to Tell. Yes, Lahaina. So, the Mighty Valkyries, issue number 1. Don't skip it. Oh, it's my pick of the week for Marvel, but it's going to be sharing the spot because I have another pick of the week. So it's one of my pick of the weeks. Don't skip it. Don't skip it. Don't skip it. Second Marvel pick of the week. I'm sorry, I couldn't decide. Spurrier, Quinn, and Tartaglia. This book is another masterpiece. We're talking about Way of X. Why is this a masterpiece? Way back in, I think, issue 6 of X-Men, right after House of X, Powers of X, Hickman had Nightwing. I've got my universes mixed up. Nightcrawlers decide that maybe the mutants need their own religion. And we didn't hear anything from it since. And the whole time I was like, I want a mutant religion. They've done everything else. I want this mutant religion. We had the Crucible, which is pretty creepy. They're going to address that in this. The Crucible is if a mutant gets depowered, they put him in an arena and they let them fight an Omega level mutant. And they'll die. But if they die on their feet, they get reborn in the Krakoa hatchery. And that's the Crucible. And yeah, it seems a little bit of a religious experience, but also really creepy. It centers around, well, Kurt's got a lot of problems, and one of the biggest problems is his crisis of faith. while he is loving the new nation of Krakoa and the fact that it's very Eden-like, he's also not loving the fact that a lot of the mutants seem very jaded. When death doesn't have like a consequence, then you find a lot of the younger mutants are like, just go ahead and die. You just haven't experienced it yet. Oh God, you need to do it. You need to just get it over with. Like they're all like laughing and joking about death. And Kurt's like, that's disturbing. Why would you be so frivolous with your gifts that you're given? And then the Crucible. He's like, well, the Crucible is very, very cruel at times, and that might work for some people. It doesn't work for everyone, and maybe there's consequences to being that cruel. So we're gonna get Kurt fleshing out the mutant religion, and oh God, I want to see it so bad. I want to know what he comes up with, and it's Spurrier at the helm, but I'm sure he's got Hickman whispering in his ear, so it's gonna be something great, and we need to see what it is. I honestly, I can't wait. We've never seen Nightcrawler go this direction, and so everything about this book was amazing. It was really good, a fun ride. I saw just him as a character, his crisis of faith meeting his crisis of humanity. So many morality questions. A great, great read. My other pick of the week from Marvel. Do not skip Way of X. Next is a book I wanted to like. It was all right. It's Ewing Sheedy. I always pronounce that name wrong. Gracia. It was all right. It's just. So here's my problem with this book. It's all right. It's a Ewing book. I don't hate it. It's just 90% of this book is politics. It deals with Sword having played their part in King in Black and Cortez saying, like, I need to be honored. I need to be, my team did so good. And he's got kind of a big head, and he might fall victim to the politics of Krakoa. Now, I have liked the politics of Krakoa up until this point. They've been cruel. They've been backstabby. I mean, literally, Kate Bishop died over it.
And democratic.
Yeah, right. Did I say Kate Bishop? Oh, I've got my names. Kitty Pryde. Kate Pryde. I have my brain and names get them mixed up. Kate Pryde died over her politics. There has been so much good stuff with it, and this ain't it. This is the politics of Krakoa being petty. So it's okay. He did it because he needs to introduce new leadership on the Sword team. So it's okay, but it felt really petty. That's all I'm going to say about it. What I will say is we're going to get some of the Arakko mutants in play, and they're very different. We all know they're very different and brutal. So that will be here. Next is a book I love. This is Stan Sakai and Hi-Fi. We're talking about Usagi Jimbo. Now, this issue is outstanding and is a callback to Usagi's past and when he was actually trying to hide the head of his lord after they lost the battle. And people that he encountered then, and, maybe some of his past coming back to haunt him. So it's a very, very, it's a typical Sakai story. Stan loves to do that. He loves to re-flesh out like a character's history and just add a little bit more padding to it. And you should have known that because the last one centered around like that swordsman that he learned from years ago. This one's going to center around that, and Sakai's going to keep doing that. But it centers around an island called Snake Island and Takage lizards. Now, the Takage lizards of Usagi's world are very large, and they look almost like dogs. And he's ran around with one named Spot before. He's very fond of them. So they're going to play a role in this. I love seeing them in that role. So Usagi Jimbo, don't skip it. It's outstanding. There's a lot of don't skip it books this week. Another book that just made me laugh out loud multiple times. Thompson, Kamagni, and Gruntigern. I hope I pronounced your name right. I'm sorry if I didn't. Captain Marvel. But if you can't tell from the cover, she's got a new look. Why does she have a new look? Well, she came back from the future and realized there was an impending apocalypse. And it all took place because she didn't have control over magic, and it was still her weakness. So what's she going to do? Try and learn magic, which sort of makes sense. She just had a one-night stand with Doctor Strange. So she's going to try and learn magic. But, Doctor Strange might have blacklisted her from learning magic. And, oh, God, is it funny. I laughed 3, 4, I don't know how many times. I chuckled out loud multiple times in this book. It's outstanding. They do address some issues with trauma, of which Captain Marvel has plenty, believe me. So they addressed that, and yeah, she's got a new look, and I'm very fond of it. So Captain Marvel, almost my pick of the week here. It's, hair shy of those other 2 books, but really, really good read. It'll be on our shelves. Next is Percy Brown and Guru Effects. Well, we're talking about XForce. Now, Beast is dead, thus leaving part of the leadership of XForce. There's sort of a leadership leadership vacuum. That's what I meant to say, and somehow I said background. But Jean Grey might be stepping up to fill those boots. And meanwhile, Quentin's being haunted, possibly partially by trauma, partially by Quentin clones that are being abused, and they're going to have to address that. The problem is that these clones attack things on a psychic front as well as a physical front. So they're going to need to figure out a very wicked way to deal with that. More importantly, they're hinting at something big brewing that is touching down in another X book involving telepaths. So the telepaths are playing a giant role in Krakoa these days in books, and for good reason. There's some wild stuff brewing. So yeah, X-Force, don't skip it. Jean Grey is like, let me help you understand your powers better, because there's a certain telepath on the horizon that hasn't been touched in a while. If you know who I'm talking about, he's got if you know him from the TV show, you have no idea who I'm talking about. But trust me when I say in the comics, his hair goes up like 3 feet. Next is a book I also loved, Aaron, Maresca, and Curiel, and that is King in Black Avengers. Now we finally understand why they delayed the Avengers King in Black stuff. It's because it takes place after the event. It's kind of a wrap-up. The Avengers have dealt with the event. They're all sort of trying to recuperate this and that. Meanwhile, the vampires are like, we helped you people, and you betrayed us. You let Blade murder us. Blade didn't murder them though. That's how they're selling it to the UN Council in this book, but Blade didn't murder them. They attacked Blade, and he's like, oh, the sun's out, dummies. They all died because the planet got unshrouded by the symbiote. So Blade didn't murder them. I have a problem with that. Anyways, so the UN is blaming Blade. They have some demands. The Vampire Nation, they want to be a Vampire Nation. They want their freedom, and they're going to take the most poisoned part of the world, Chernobyl, and they're going to build a Vampire Nation there. And it's going to happen because they helped mankind. Meanwhile, Black Panther's got some demands, Blade's got some demands, and the way this plays out is ridiculously fun. More importantly, we get Echo with the new Phoenix, but also as Echo herself, having a really nice bonding moment with the other Flame Avenger, Ghost Rider. It makes sense. It really, really works. They seem like just almost best friends already. I loved it. So don't skip it. Avengers is outstanding too. Oh my God. The end of this book was perfect. Perfect. Elliot Rahal, Maria Monaco. This is Knock 'em Dead. This has been a stand-up comedian's rise to fame and what he did after that. And I got to tell you, his downfall is the most hysterical celebrity downfall I might have ever read in comic history. It's a really, really funny wrap-up. The ending is very somber, I will tell you that. But the way his career sort of gets messed up in the beginning of the book was hysterical. Knock 'em Dead has been, a stand-up comedian has been dealing with being possessed and the reasons why. And, it made him funnier, but it also, he was possessed. He's having problems with his soul. How that wrapped up and his relationship with his sister, I've loved it. Somehow they told like a rise to fame alongside sort of a middle-aged crisis story, alongside, what's it called? Faker syndrome?
Hypochondriac.
No, not hypochondriac. Imposter syndrome. Alongside that, with dash of like paranormal. It was really, really fun, and I'm very happy with the ending. And I honestly think I might actually buy the trade on this because it was a really good read. The art was great. It's just a good story to have. And honestly, I would love to throw it on my coffee table and just talk about this story with people that came through. Here is the main cover for Carnage, Black, White, and Red. I don't think I got to show that off. I think I showed off a variant earlier, but we'll have that too. We have lots of Carnage, so come pick it up. Next is Tales from the Outerverse. This is Dark Horse Comics 35 years. Has this been told before? It's a Mike Mignola story. Kajakaru the Skinner? I don't know if it has, but a lot of times when we get these 35 years, they tend to be anniversary issues. This story I have not read before. It's Mike Mignola. It centers around, well, witches during World War II and, a medieval knight sort of being summoned to fight them. Yeah, okay. It feels like standard BPRD sort of Hellboy affair. It's Mike Mignola being wild and paranormal. Is it fun? Yeah, it's fun. The art's really good. The story's good. But if you're at home with Hellboy and if you're at home with BPRD, you know you're probably going to enjoy this story. We will have it on our shelves for you. Next is Spencer, Vincentini, and Sinclair. And, well, we had sort of a Romeo and Juliet story in that Tombstone's daughter was in love with, who's it, Robbie Ray's son? Not Robbie Ray's, Robbie Robertson. Oh, my Robbie. My name's confused. Yeah, Robbie Robertson's. Robbie Robertson's son. And Spider-Man's trying to help find the kids after they got kidnapped by Madame Mask. Meanwhile, oh God, Spencer, don't drop the ball here. This new story's been great. I haven't liked the look of the new Spidey suit, but I've liked the premise behind it. But oh God, please don't drop the ball here. We're revisiting parts of the Sin Eater story again with that centipede guy. What's his name? Remnant or
Revenant?
What's his name? I can't remember. It's Harry Osborn deceased. Yeah. Who cares?
On the mask off the mask.
Spencer, you got away from it, man. You got away from it. You had a really, really fun story that we wanted to know more about. You had Spidey doing the I got a new roommate and I love my new roommate kind of play. It was fun again. What are you doing? So I don't know. Nick Spencer's being weird again. Let's hope he doesn't go too far back to it. But we got away from that. It was really, really fun for a couple issues. Fingers crossed we keep that headway. This issue's iffy because I started getting that nasty taste in my mouth from earlier. The last book of the week, Philip Kennedy Johnson, Salvador LaRocca, and Guru Effects. The art on this book is amazing. The story actually was really good. Thank God. Alien. Yes, the first issue I was on the fence about because it was a little slow. And on top of that, they didn't bring them into the Marvel universe like I was hoping they did. They just sort of established another Alien story. This one, really fun. They're going back to that what's the name of the station?
Oh, Hadley's Hope.
Is it Hadley's Hope? Yeah, okay. Wherever Bishop's been there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're going back to that station. They're dealing with what's been going on. Somebody's being retasked, and let's be honest, it's just an excuse for aliens to belt out. They're hunting an alpha alien egg. Or an alpha alien baby, maybe? Baby. And they go over the usual xenomorph like stuff, like hey, xenomorphs can be born to anything. They can literally impregnate anything, and you need to be careful. And I'm not sure where they're gonna go with that, but I can't wait to find out. Is it good? Yes, the action was amazing. When it got going, it was really, really fun. The dialogue's great. It's written well. So as far as an Alien story, I was on the fence about it for the first one. This one was outstanding. If you're an Aliens fan, I'm not a huge Aliens fan here. The big Alien fan here is Yogi, and I'm happy to say that even not as a huge Alien fan, I loved it. So we will have it. Come get it. And we've got a variant for the many deaths of, what's her name? Layla. It's my indie pick of the week. Layla Starr. It's my indie pick of the week. We have I think it's a one per store. It should be on the website, but if you're interested, it's $25. It's a really gorgeous cover. And honestly, I'm gonna say it. That's my pick of the week. It's an indie this time. My pick of the week is an indie. It's not Marvel. It's not DC. It's just an outstanding, fun book. I was so into it, and I think it's the dialogue. The dialogue was great. So that's my indie pick of the week, and that's our show for this week. So you guys got anything to add?
Just show up Sunday.
Show up Sunday for
If you
Hicham
dropped off
Hapchi.
books with us, we got them taken care of. Don't worry about that.
If you what?
If you dropped off books with us, they're taken
Oh,
care
if you
of.
dropped off books with us, they will be signed. We promise. What else? That's it. Please, if you want Batman Fortnite, please God, if you want Batman Fortnite, show up when we open the store. Buy one copy. Don't buy 4 copies and try to flip the other ones on eBay. I'm not having that. If you're buying them for the kids in your life, thank you. If you're buying them to flip it on eBay, fuck you. Excuse me. Pardon my language, but that's how I'm going to be. I wish we had more copies for kids. We've had kids calling all day. That's our show for this week. That's it. And everything. And all the streams. We stream on like 5